All right, we're live.
Live.
We're live. We're live.
We're live. Live.
We're live and surprised. Surprised that Joe's alive.
I'm alive. Hey, guess what? This is another episode of UFO Garage.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Joe, and this is where we talk about UFOs, aliens, and all things weird.
All things weird, baby.
Yeah. Hey, so I feel like shit today.
Yeah.
That's why we're not together.
Sorry you're sick, man. I didn't want to get sick. I got a big weekend coming up.
Separate. Dude. Yeah. No worries, man. I wouldn't have come over anyways, man. Like, I don't even feel like driving right now. It's been terrible.
Hey, what you know? We should do. We should do this from afar. Do you remember from what we read today what that means?
Yep.
Oh,
the backhanded handshake, dude. Oh man. Hey.
So before we start talking about that, I do want to say, man, our guest that we were going to have tonight, we'll call him Finian for now. I want him to introduce himself because we've known this guy for like a year, over a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to get him on the show, and I feel like we both just wanted him to have a really just 100% show where you and I are both in the studio, and it's not some half-ass thing. So I figured, it's a good thing that we rescheduled. And yeah, so this is kind of a last minute thing. I don't know, man. I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't been enthralled by something that I've read. So I guess a little backstory on it. Joe, you sent me that photo.
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, the backstory on this whole thing is at about 3:00 today. we were looking around on Facebook, like we said, we had to kind of reschedule our guests. We wanted to have like we want them to have a badass time. And with me not feeling so hot, we figured we'll just kind of do something on our own, kind of quickly this evening. But Ryan Quick, I want to give him a shout out. He posted on our page, and he posted this Reddit thing, and it was Throawaylien. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard of this Throawaylien on Reddit, but it's been a pretty big deal apparently. And this guy has been posting, I guess some of his posts were from like 2013, talking about his abduction experience and just certain things that he knows. And then he kind of went quiet for a while. Well, now his most recent stuff.
Ooh, don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Has kind of been pretty wild. So, we're excited to kind of talk about that tonight. I kind of want to get everybody's opinion. I mean, most of the stuff, you see stuff on Reddit all the time, and it's just kind of like, whatever. A lot of it's repeat. A lot of it's just bickering back and forth. Just a lot of, this and that. But this story was very, very interesting. Just the way he talks about it. Some experiencers that we know have said some of the exact same stuff that he said. And it's just very, very interesting. So we're going to get into that a little bit this evening.
Dude, couldn't have said it better myself. I can't even. You're covering up that sniffle and cough so well. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, so, that's a good mic. The mute button. Yeah, the mute button is strong with this one.
It's great.
Dude, so, man, again, Finney, we're going to have our guests that we had planned on in the future, but I think we're going to talk about this. And guys in the chat, if you guys know anything about this story, hit us up, let us know. And if you're listening via podcast, just audio, and you know a little bit more, because we're not going to get all the things right. I mean, we just learned about this today. I'm excited to talk about it. So if we make a mistake or whatever, just email us or maybe hop on the next live chat and we'll talk about it and go through it, because we're no experts on the story, but we're trying to take notes. It's just so damn interesting.
And there's a lot.
There's a lot. So I do want to mention the person who's actually, before we get in, let's say hi to everybody in the chat. What's up, William?
Hi, everybody.
What's up, everybody? Tammy. Oh yeah. Gamer Chris, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. Yeah, so I don't know how if anybody has any theories or updates or knows anything about this, hit us up. Maybe we'll have you come on the show and talk about it if you know a little bit more. I did hit up Ryan quick, and I haven't heard back from him, but hey, buddy, if you're listening, hop on and talk to us. But yeah, dude, so let's get it going, man. The first thing I want to say is shout out to LeMuffins32. He's the guy who put together that post that compiled all of the reference links to all this stuff. Like how he had that much time
seriously
to go through all the comments. Like he archives all these comments, and I guess whoever the subreddit is, like the mods for the subreddit, like maybe there's a team of people that are working together on this, but it's pretty awesome. So I wanted to shout out Le Muffins, L-E. Yeah. So if you guys want to follow along and read this or press pause and read it, check out the subreddit Throawaylien. It's actually, there's no W. It's THROAWAY alien. So pretty interesting. But yeah, dude. So how does this thing start? Because there's three parts. So what were your first impressions on the first part? I mean, because doesn't it start out like he's commenting on an Ask Me Reddit post, and it's like, hey, people of Reddit, tell me about your abduction stories, and he posts his story, and this shit goes wild. So what was your first impression?
Yeah.
About it?
The first bit when you read it, I mean, it's really no different than the first time you really hear about like an abduction story or somebody's story. Like the feeling that I got was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. I mean, the guy had some detail. There was, a couple names that he was able to kind of, put in with his story. But, for me, like the kicker for this whole thing was the evolution of the story.
Yes.
Like when you first start reading it, you're just like, okay, yeah, here we go. Like another abduction story or whatever. And there's so much out there that you got to be careful with. There's a lot that's, just a bunch of fakery and stuff like that. But this story has like a different vibe to it.
The level of detail, man.
The level of detail was pretty impressive, and it's not like a 2-3 sentence thing, right? It's like a massive,
and it feels unedited, right? Like it seems like kind of stream of consciousness. There's some misspellings, there's some weird language in there. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not like somebody wrote this in a science fiction book.
Yeah. Dude. How
How
about you? I mean, what were your first impression?
Kind of the same. I mean, it started out just like any other abduction, abductee, or contactee story on Reddit that I've read. I mean, I love reading that stuff, but for some reason, I was just hooked from the beginning. There wasn't. He got straight to the point, and we're gonna read some of this in a second. But like, or one of us, I'd love to read it. So, dude, I too love the evolution. You could definitely tell in his voice that he's kind of playing it off a little bit. Like, hey, no big deal. There's grays, and they're not exactly grays, and they're actually kind of a beige. Those are clothes that you guys are saying that are gray. And the whole time I'm thinking, well, that doesn't account for all the species. Maybe that's a little naive of him to kind of assume that there's only one species on Earth, because I mean, we've talked to a lot of people that are abductees, contactees that experience all kinds of different entities. So I was a little bit turned off by that, but I kept reading, man, and it's just something about it's interesting. So,
but then he also goes to explain that, like, hey, I understand that people have met other kinds of species. This is just the ones that have contacted me. So
Right.
He doesn't speak on other species because he doesn't know. He hasn't seen them. He hasn't talked to them. He hasn't had any interaction.
Yeah.
So he's saying the ones that we're talking about specifically here are these what we would call grays.
Right. So, dude, I mean, okay, I do want to read. I do want to read like maybe the first paragraph, and then we'll just
Yeah.
you want to go through that. All right.
For sure.
Awesome. All right, guys. So this is the first paragraph. This was posted at 8:37 p.m. November 19th of 2013, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, what was going on? Yeah. I don't want to get off track. But all right, this November 19th, 2013, 8:30 p.m. Throwaway account because I'm afraid. That's the first sentence. And it says, I was first abducted in 1987. I was 12 years old. I say abducted, but it's not like that. Actually, you go willingly. It's scary, but exciting too. And they're somehow able to make you feel okay about things. It's not until later that you feel bad or like you've been violated. And they don't do it a lot. They don't do a lot of probing, like raping or anything like that. That's Hollywood nonsense. That's just how he spelled it. They look inside of people sometimes, but they have machines that do it. Not really machines, but it's like a room where things get done and the walls are, it's hard to explain. So just imagine all the walls are kind of like x-ray machines. That's the easiest way to describe it. So right off the bat, like it seems very conversational, like
very
stream of mind. That's how I talk, like,
yeah.
So
And
like that.
And like if you read anybody's books, like any of the guests that we've had on the show, Aaron Montgomery or Terry Lovelace, when they talk about these interactions that they have with these beings, how they show up in their room, they're children, they're playful, they smile, they entice you to come with them. Like almost like they're not forcefully taking you at all. Like you willingly go with them, which is very important, I think, because that says something about, is it mind manipulation? Is it actual comfort? Do you feel good in the moment? I mean, is it something that you're even, consciously aware of?
Right.
That
totally flipped it on its head for me, because I've always thought of this thing before, meeting the people that we met. Like, it's a terrifying experience. You don't have any control over your body, and like you're still scared. And this idea that you do go willingly, and I don't think he ever clarified if he was actually scared or if they were manipulating his mind or chemicals or anything like that. I don't think he really. Maybe he just didn't even think about that was a possibility.
Well, he does say that he remembers being like, when it first started happening, he was absolutely terrified. When he I guess thinks back on it, he's like, I was so scared, because he later goes on to say that, like, now I don't really care that they take me. I've been able to ask questions and this and that, but and we'll get into that later in the story, but there is a point later on in the story where he says, I haven't been this scared since they first abducted me.
Yes.
Right.
Dude.
And that's later in the story. So there's something to that, and him actually being terrified, but also being in a state to where you're willingly able to go with these things, right? We always think of an abduction as something that, like, oh, it's just this saucer flying over your house, like this, right? They just come and beam down some light and off you go unwillingly. But the more stories we hear, the more we hear that a lot of people willingly go with them. The more stories we hear, it almost sounds like you have a choice, you have an option. Mm-hmm. But maybe you're just in such a weird state that you're not thinking clearly or making the correct decision, and it's also kind of like a branch off into, like, when you think of like vampires and how they say, well, a vampire can't get you unless you willingly invite it into your home. And maybe this whole, alien thing, this abduction thing is like a stem or a story, break off story into these other mythical stories or legends that arise,
Yeah. They're like catalysts. I mean, to the oldest stories that humans know about. Man, I think there's something to that for sure, dude.
Because in Terry's story, there were monkeys. right? And he had a cousin who saw a clown. Some people see lights. That one guy saw a fucking burrito. Like, it's just what you see just doesn't even, I don't know. It's like it's its own thing. It shows you something different. Like, and it makes you like think, okay, smiling monkeys, clowns, burritos, these are all things that you might walk towards. Maybe not a clown for a lot of people, but they're showing up as like angels or something beautiful. Right.
And maybe from the story, what I've been able to gather is the aliens, the entities, whatever you want to call them, they don't really know that they're being scary. All they're picking up on is like, hey, this theme seems to repeat in culture. This clown thing, they must love them. Let's try that.
Yeah,
that could totally be the thing. You're like, dude, I love burritos, dude.
Yeah,
I ate a burrito last night. I love burritos. So maybe they just don't understand the concept of like, oh, well, this just happens a lot. That we should just show up as that. Makes sense to me.
All right. So in the chats, Mo, you've heard of this story then. I'm not sure how much you know of like what's going on or like if you dug into it, but it's a pretty interesting story. I kind of lean on the side of I kind of believe him too, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
I 100% believe him. Or or she. I don't know. It could be a she. We don't know.
I guess we'll find out very soon. Very soon.
Alien girl, what's up, girl? Peace, Will. Thanks for joining, dude. Okay. Will. Magnus said, insert algorithm tickling comment here. Hell yeah. I don't know what that means, but it sounds funny. Dude, okay, so let's pick another thing in this part one to read. And do you want to read the next one? Kind of go through that.
Let's see here.
Because this is his first post, right? So this is part one, and then like there's like pages of comments later. So I mean, I feel like let's kind of pick a couple of.
So let's go through this. He says, you can't understand their language. It just sounds like, I'm positive that we'll never be able to communicate with them in their language. I should mention that these are the grays that you hear about, except they aren't gray. They're sort of a beige, and it's clothes anyway. They aren't naked. I don't know if there are others. People say that there are, but I've only ever met these. Anyway, you cannot understand them, but they can understand you, and they can put thoughts into your head, but they can't hear your thoughts. You have to speak to them. They can't hear very well, or else they're not good at understanding English. So you have to speak loudly and slowly. I don't know if they understand other languages, but I'm pretty sure they would. They're interested in all of us and everything that goes on. They like a lot of things about our culture, too. They like some of our music. Bluegrass is their favorite so far that I've seen. They like it a lot. They love that African instrument that looks like a gourd with 13 strings. Love it. But they can't stand horns or horn music. So they hate classical music and jazz. I think trumpets sound a lot like their language. It's a feeling that I get, but I've never been able to ask them. So
lots to break down in that one, dude. Lots to break down.
Yeah.
So this is another one of those really intricate details that like you wouldn't, if you were lying about something, you wouldn't just slip that in. Like, oh, you have to speak really slow, and like you have to talk loudly because they don't hear so well. Like, how'd you know that?
I know. And we always think that like, oh, they're reading our minds. But he's like, no, they can put thoughts into your mind, but they can't read like what's in your mind. Yeah. Maybe these specific ones can't, right?
Right. Those specific ones. Dude, and hey, real quick, sidebar. Did you not in your head picture those aliens from Fire in the Sky?
Yeah.
because I did.
The beige ones.
Those beige ones with like slightly larger heads. Not. I mean, their eyes apparently aren't as big as we portray them. I mean, again, he's talking about one species, but there's no ears. There's like little ear holes, right?
Right. Even Whitley Strieber, right? The cover of his book has that beige alien face on it. So
yeah.
Dude. Okay, and then horn music, man. Like I wonder what he meant by the like is he saying or like
I don't know.
Like what do you hear? What did you hear in your head when you read it?
I don't know. I to me it sounded like I pictured like a frequency, like a humming, like maybe like when it's real quiet in your house and then your refrigerator turns on and you hear that subtle hum in the background, like maybe that's how they're communicating, just with like this little hum noise that's producing this frequency that they can understand, but it's not like verbal words. It's like a hum, like a frequency.
Right.
And each maybe they change the pitch or the frequency in it, and maybe that's how they're able to communicate.
There's just like maybe their brains are made so differently that you don't even need ears. Like the passing, like so, like noise comes from just waves of air moving. Like that's how you make sound. So maybe there's a different sensor in their brain that kind of takes it in instead of the eardrum and all that. There's maybe just a different hardware that's in their heads and all that.
Oh I know.
It's just
it kind of bummed me out that aliens don't like ska music.
They're not gonna listen to Goldfinger, dude. They're gonna listen to the sweet, sweet music of Goldfinger.
They're never gonna hear me first in the gimme gimmies, dude.
They're not gonna like Frankie Sinatra. They're not gonna.
No. There's a lot of good stuff with horns in it.
Louis Prima, bro.
I know. They're not gonna like any of that.
I wonder, like, maybe that's why aliens didn't like abduct people in like Victorian times, because all of the music was like really shrill, like the metal hammer pianos, and, like French horns, like 20 French horns.
It'd be interesting to see the amount of abductions like in New Orleans. Like, is it a lot, or do they not get abducted? That's why voodoo became such a big thing there, because the aliens never came around.
Yes, dude. Oh my God. That's
like, so much brass music. I hate this shit.
So much brass.
It's such a bummer. I fucking love horns, dude. Anything with a horn in it, I'm gonna listen.
There's nothing like a good horn player. Like, have you ever tried to pick up a damn horn and play? It's impossible.
Yeah, I used to be a trumpet player.
What's telling the truth?
Yeah,
you used to play. Where did you play the trumpet?
I played it like all through high school, and then a little bit out of high school, just for fun.
Shit, maybe you told me that and I just forgot.
I could still play it.
Damn. All right.
So that's cool, because, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want to get abducted, just put music on, with horns.
Play some, put some Louis Prima on.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, dude, love that. All right, moving on. So, wait, I had one more thing. Let's see. The clothes. So it is kind of naive that I feel naive because I always picture like aliens just being naked,
Yeah.
Like they're like Daffy Duck. Like they just need, maybe if they had a shirt on, you wouldn't even notice that they didn't have pants on because they're all just one thing.
Yeah.
Or if they had like an exo. I mean, now I'm as I'm more into this subject and been into the subject a little bit more closely in the past couple of years. Like now I'm starting to think of like exoskeletons and like suits that they might wear, or maybe they're just non-biological. Maybe they're half biological, technological AIs that are walking around and they're just being remotely controlled from a different star system or different universe. Multi universes away. So.
Yeah,
this is different than a lot of what I've been kind of really paying attention to lately, which is the latter there. So hearing the more biological aspect of it is kind of refreshing. I mean, I know this was from 2013, but it's for some reason we know the reason. We haven't even said it yet.
Yeah,
there's a reason why the title of this video is "Will This Weekend Bring New Management?" Alien. Did you see the title of it?
Yeah.
So there's a reason, people. If you're here for that, we're going to tell you in a second. It's happening this weekend, apparently.
Apparently.
July 18th. But before we get to that, I kind of want to figure out or say one more thing. Okay, so they say that he's been abducted, or he says that he's been abducted about every 2 years since 1987. And he remembers, he knows that there's two main characters in his abduction stories, and he calls them Jack and Gina. He doesn't know if they're male or female, or even if they have different sexes or if they're their real names, but apparently they gave him those names. And they told him, this is what it says: they will make contact with Earth on a wide scale in 2021. And now, remember, this has been posted in 2013. So he says they will make contact with Earth on a wide scale in 2021. That's the year when they land here or colonize or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what their plan is. They don't seem to be evil or dangerous. Their planet is, so they told me anyway, a very long way away. They couldn't explain to me how far, they said, because it was too far for me to understand. And it was also it was also close to the side. I mean, this is a long one. So, looks like we dropped Joe. So this is a really long one. I don't want to read the whole thing. I mean, guys, this is not our story. This is not my story. I'm reading this, and if you guys are interested or just now joining, we're talking about this story by it started by this user from Reddit called the Throawaylien. It was as a post on Reddit. LaMuffins32 compiled this all and put this on one awesome thread. And we should have posted the link to the dang thing. Here, let's see. I'm going to post it right now if anybody wants to check it out. Looks like Joe dropped out, so let's see what happens there. In the meantime, Tammy says saxophone is the best sound ever. I love a saxophone. That's a good instrument. And Christian says, I believe them. Why would someone go on the internet and just lie like that? I mean, there's all kinds of reasons. There's all kinds of reasons that people lie. I get your side and the flip side. It's like if you're new to this subject, you're like me. I'm only a few years in. I mean, I've been interested in this my whole life, but as you start being around people and hearing more stories, you get kind of this veil of discernment, which I'm not saying is a good thing, but maybe there is a good thing. There's some good aspects, good and bad aspects to having discernment when it comes to, hearing people out. But if anybody is out there saying that, they've been abducted and they can tell their story with absolute detail and still be sane, I would tend to trust that person because I feel like a lot of people that have these stories happen to them, I mean, it's got to be hard to deal with. So the fact that you can, stay sane and have a normal conversation or hold down a job is phenomenal to me. So that's utmost respect for contactees. I'm not sure what happened to Joe, but we'll just keep going on, guys. Cool. So we are talking about, so he gives a date. He's been given a date of July 18th, which is this weekend. It's this Sunday, 2021, that they were going to land here. Throawaylien was told this by Gina and Jack. So I'll just read a little bit more. He says, he goes on to say, so I don't really know why they come here or why they've taken so many of us up or why they've gotten to be friends with me. They do not have any religion and they don't need oxygen or water or trees or anything, I don't think. They don't eat people. I don't think they want to breed with us or genetically engineer us. I don't know what they want, but they've been coming here for, I'd guess, at least 10 or 20,000 years. Boom. Damn. So yeah, Jay, he says that he's never seen him eat anything. He goes on later in the story to say that when he's on the ship, they take him for a couple of weeks at a time, and he's not the only one there. There's other people that are on the ship that he is now in contact with, or has been in contact with. He has their phone numbers. They text. He calls them, his friends, but not really. It's just the other contactees that he's had experiences with, which is, man, it's kind of intense. Like, it's kind of a sad situation. I mean, he goes on to explain that he's having a hard time, like I was saying earlier, hard time holding down a job, but that the people that he was up on craft with, they would be there for a couple of weeks, and they would do experiments, such as taking him into a room, doing x-rays, taking scoops out of like the lower portion, like the small of your back that would be on a human, and asking him all kinds of questions. So they would ask him or show him images of, let's say, like a hippopotamus, and they would ask him, and this is in reference to something that he said about, do they have a religion? I don't think so. So yeah, they would ask him, is this hippopotamus your idol? Is this your god? And he would, answer. And he thought that was really interesting. I think that's really interesting too. If you have a technologically advanced civilization that has traversed space and time and somehow found us, if they're not, super close to us already, and they were able to get here and they don't have a religion, I feel like there's something to pay attention to there. But that's not the end of the story. There's more to that, the religion aspect, and we'll get to that here in a second. But he does make a note in this part 1. We're talking about part 1 right now. Okay, so the next really interesting part that he talks about, after he says he thinks they've been here for about 10, 20,000 years, is that they show, and when he's on ship, they show him, they not only do tests and ask him questions, but they show him video. Oh, Joe's back. Joe, you're back.
I hate those fucking dogs.
What, they unplug your modem or something?
Yeah, they decided to have a race in the damn living room and went behind where all the stuff is and unplugged everything.
All right. So, well, it was time to change. It was time to change the light bulb anyway. So there we go. Change it to
your green
now.
light bulb. Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, I kind of went over the part where he's talking about they start showing him when he's on ship, and for like up to 1 to 2 weeks, where they start asking him questions, showing him images, asking him, "Is this your god? Is this your idol? Or is this any idol?" And then he goes on to explain that he believes that they've been here. They have been here for 10 to 20,000 years. And I really wanted to hit on this specific thing. He says, but they've got video of all sorts of stuff. And they showed me video of Neanderthals and Cro-Magnon, which really were just like us humans exactly. Just like us humans, except they all had black skin, way less diversity, and all sorts of other human-like beings, us's or whatever. And they showed me videos of the pyramids being built. And this is huge.
By humans.
And he says, and this huge stone building that I guess is lost somewhere or was destroyed. He says it was in Europe. I can tell from the video. They have video of them talking with all sorts of people all throughout history of Earth. They showed me some of them and asked me questions about them, but I couldn't understand any of it because I only speak English. I mean, yeah. And even English, he makes this quote that even English from 200 or 300 years ago is so different that I could hardly understand it. So I told him that they probably knew more about it than I did. So right off the bat, dude, he talks about some like stuff that I am so fascinated in, man. Like, come on, he's saying that he saw how the pyramids were built, and they were built by humans.
Yep.
Dude. And all the humans that looked just like us had black skin. That's very interesting.
Yep.
And he didn't see, there was not much diversity. So I don't know. He doesn't really say, like, I guess there's probably not like a time code that says, okay, this is 1500 years ago. This is where we were. And this is so there's not a lot. It's a little vague there, but I just love that, dude. That,
also like that he says that like, they don't really show like a lot of interesting stuff. It's more like a man in a field or somebody working on a bike or something like that. It's never like anything super important. And
yeah,
could they have video of Kennedy's assassination? Yeah, sure, maybe, but I've never seen it. Right? He's like, that's not really what their objective is. I guess they're just, and also, I think this is in the first first part as well.
Yeah. Oh,
Where he talks about how they acquired a lot of that video. So he goes in to say that when he asks who they are, the only way that they could really translate it is friend of friends. That's
in the part 3. That's at the very end.
Okay,
dude,
so we won't go too far down that, but in that part 3 is pretty interesting. But before we move on, though, I wanted to just bring up this one little thing where he says, where he talks about the planet and where they come from, and he says their planet, so they told me anyways, is a very long way away. They couldn't explain to me how far. They said because it was too far for me to even understand. Yeah. And it was also close to the side. Yeah. He says, I have no idea what that means, but it's always stuck with me. Home is too far away for you to understand, but also close to the side.
What is so interdimensional? That's what that means to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like dimensional, like basically like my home world is right here on top of your home world. You wouldn't even be able to comprehend what that means, but it's very close to where you are, right? It's side by side.
He could also mean it's so far, but far doesn't necessarily have to mean distance. I mean, we're obviously talking about a language barrier here right off the bat. I mean, this dude that he's talking to, Mr. Peanut, is saying, hey, we're barely able to communicate here. This is the best I can do. It's too far, but close to the side. So it could mean not in distance far, but it could mean that you are technologically and your brain isn't powerful enough to even conceive how the physics works to travel transdimensionally. That's maybe something he might, I don't know.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
We're not even scratching the surface, bro. So I did also go over, like the huge stone building that he mentioned. The huge stone building that he like bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza and bigger than Teotihuacan. Am I saying that right? I'm not sure. But he thought it was like in Europe. I thought that was something awesome to note because it's something so random and quick. It's like and I'm just talking about the validity of his story here. I'm just noting that, like, what, you're just gonna randomly mention this huge building?
How big was the Library of Alexandria? Was that thing pretty massive?
Oh my god, dude,
was it in Europe?
No, it was in Africa. It was, dude, I'm sorry. I'm terrible at geography. Dude, all the cool shit happened in the Middle East and Africa, man. Every cool shit that happened like before America happened there. And then, there's the Romans and all that. That was cool.
Not the Indianapolis 500.
Hey, man. I didn't see nobody driving no damn fast car there.
I didn't see it either.
Hey, man, I will pull up in my truck. Dude, also
Daytona. Daytona's huge.
I was thinking about this the other day, man. Hey, just sidebar real quick. We're always talking about the pyramids, like, and possibly being built by aliens. What about like all the Roman structures and all those buildings, like the Parthenon and like the huge structures that are like giant blocks.
But
you know what I mean? Like, why is there that separation? Like, okay, well, if they aliens had to have built the pyramid, but not all this Roman stuff that's like probably way harder to build because it's so symmetrical, way more intricate. Like,
or even like the Greeks,
Yeah, Greeks and Romans. I'm sorry, you're smart.
No, they're close. I know that the Greeks and they're all the those people, right?
those people, yeah.
I know that the Greeks had like Olympus and all this huge structural shit, right? Yeah, they built all those massive statues and things. So,
dude, I'm trying to think. Sorry, I was reading some comments. I feel like we haven't interacted in a while. So, dude, what is that big stadium? The stadium that's like fucking massive in Europe and Greek and all that.
Oh, the Colosseum.
Colosseum. Thank you. You're so smart. Dude, how the hell did they build that?
Slaves.
Well, there was also like, I watched this TikTok, man, and the cranes that we know about that they used, they would have to use like 150 of them to raise one of those blocks, one of those stones. And like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. Sidebar over. I feel like that was good. Just showed how dumb we are at geography.
William says, "What do you mean those people?" Dude,
I mean, about white people.
The Greeks and Romans were white. I mean, I think it's acceptable to call them those people, right?
Yeah.
These Jews were like white as shit.
William said it had a retractable canopy too. What?
Yeah, on the Colosseum.
Damn, what? Are you serious? That's insane. Magnus says the Colosseum in Rome is made of Roman concrete. And Roman concrete, people still don't know how it was actually made. I think that's interesting. You know, like it was like some of the strongest shit ever.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like concrete's like easy to make now, but they were but the Roman stuff we don't understand.
It's like a totally different kind of concrete, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, what they use, like a little bit of granite, a little bit of marble, some sand, some mud,
A little bit of sugar,
some water,
a little bit of love,
little sugar,
little bit of sweat, a little bit of
there it is, volcanic ash to the concrete. Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, lots of carbon, maybe. I don't know. Maybe the ashes of your foes, your enemies. I don't know. I just got really dark.
They put Viagra in the concrete. This is going to be so hard when we pour it. It's got Viagra in it.
It's so hard. Yes, dude.
Oh, shit.
Okay. All right. That was amazing.
Every stone in that Colosseum has a tablet of Viagra in it.
There's one, and you like have to find it and chisel your. That's why there's so many stones missing. They had to replace a lot of those bricks.
That's why the Leaning Tower of Pisa is leaning, because they only put Viagra in half of it. So hard, William.
So hard. It is water. Oh, Kevin says it's watertight. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Greg says yes, they did. The movie Gladiator showed how it was to look. Okay, awesome. I love y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Yes.
I know there's a lot more super interesting comments, and I wish I was fast enough, but I can't do two things at once. I'm terrible. Okay, so we're almost done with part one, and then there's comments, and I feel like let's kind of maybe talk about the rest of part one. And this is where we're talking about the date, and we're gonna, I guess he's reiterating, and we will too. That's why this is significant. But Joe, do you want to take a look at that last paragraph, or you want me to?
Let's see. One more second. Let me get there. Let me get to it. I was up 3 weeks ago paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
I was up 3 weeks ago. That was the last time. I'm pretty sure that I'll go up again in a couple years, but I'm not sure after that. The whole program, or whatever they call it, is going to change in July of 2021. I think they said 8th, but it could have also been the 18th. I wasn't hearing very well. They weren't trying to intimidate me or even warn me. So I don't think we have anything to worry about. I hope they don't show the videos they took of me when they first started taking me up, because I was so scared and young, and they're embarrassing.
That's so relatable.
Yeah.
Dude, because like knowing me, this is a good point. He does mention that they never abduct him from his bed or bedroom or his home. It would always be out somewhere else. He doesn't really explain where, which I can understand that. Like, well, when I was working at Best Buy, I get why he didn't say that. But so he does mention that, and maybe this is later. Oh, this is in the comments actually, where he's talking about the 8th or the 18th. It's because of the way that the Greys speak. They're really trying their best to speak English. I mean,
yeah,
a fluently French speaking person will tell you that English is one of the hardest languages to learn. So I can understand that. I mean, coming from a different dimension or whatever, it's got to be super hard. And
different vocal cords, different frequencies. Hard for them to say. So he said it sounded like E.T.
E.T. Yeah.
So he said it could either mean the 8th of July, 2021, or the 18th. We don't know. Well, the 8th has already passed and we didn't hear anything. But the 18th is this weekend, Sunday.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if he starts talking about, and I'm just on the thought of timing and dates and everything. Guess what's happening on July 17th on Saturday night?
I'm going to Jellystone Park.
Jellystone, is SpongeBob SquarePants going to be there?
No, it's Yogi Bear, dude.
Oh, Jellystone.
I'm going with the kid.
Dude, that's awesome. Don't lose her. Keep an eye on her in the forest, my friend. No Bigfoots will touch Hendrix. I will raise hell. So, dude,
mad.
So the thing that's happening on Saturday night is called Nuno, National UFO Night. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but Eyes to the Sky, National UFO Night. Everybody's going to be looking up at the sky. Interesting timing. Okay, so let's back up. This guy, Throawaylien, posted this thing on Reddit 2013 saying this specific date, July 18th. And I don't know, maybe this was put on, maybe it's just a coincidence, but it's pretty cool that a lot of people are going to be outside looking at the sky that night, the night before, and probably into the next day, if people are out past midnight. So, dude. Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting. Hey, yeah. William said that this is a pussy knot.
What's that? What's
a pussy knot?
What are you pointing to?
To this cat.
Oh, I thought he meant like a rope knot, like a tie. Okay, awesome. That is a fucking pussy knot. That's exactly what it is.
Oh god, that's a great punk rock band name, the Pussy Knots.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that is a dope name, the Pussy Knots. Fuck yeah. Yeah, Kevin says Jimmy Church is having an all-day UFO conference on Saturday. Saturday? What? Saturday?
Well, Kevin, I don't know if you know this, but pretty soon, me and Ben are having a 72-hour podcast.
Yeah.
It's going to be the longest podcast in history.
Oh, it's going to be long.
And hard.
It's going to be sexy.
3 days.
3 full days of rock solid alien content. It's just you and me, dude. And every time we laugh, we got to take off an item of clothing, man. This is going to be wild, dude.
You're going to be naked in like the first 15 minutes of the show.
Kevin says I'll be there. Who else is going to join us for the strip poker night?
We really should, dude. We should call the Guinness Book of World Records and hold the longest podcast ever recorded.
Oh my god, yes. Yeah, dude. I mean,
that would be great for our friends.
We should get sponsored. We should get sponsored by a coffee company. Anybody?
Yeah.
What is Jimmy Church's thing? Dark, fucking roasted, thick, solid steel coffee. I don't know what it is, but
it's got diesel in it.
It's got fucking black tar heroin in it. Wait, that would be the opposite. Yeah. Okay, that'd be the opposite. It's got crude oil mixed in.
We should hit up Summer Moon.
Yeah, that's what it is. Summer Moon. Yeah.
We should go to Summer Moon.
Summer Moon.
Greg says sit pigs. Oh, dude.
Oh yeah, Black Rifle Coffee. Okay, nice. Oh, yeah.
That's what it is.
All right. Well, if y'all want to sponsor, if anybody's listening, sponsor the podcast. Check it out.
That'd be funny because our friends at Believe would be like, "Remember when we told y'all to do an hour and y'all just did 3 days in a row?"
Yeah. Like we had no idea. They were all telling us like, "Hey, y'all should make your episodes shorter."
just giving us advice. You know, it's a little intimidating seeing a 3-hour podcast. Maybe make split it up into 3 parts.
You mean 3 days?
we thought you said 3 days, dude.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
Yes. Oh my god. Okay. All right. Well, we'll explain more about the believe stuff when we'll do that in the next little bit. But let's get back to the story, dude. Because we're almost done.
Part two.
So actually, in the comments, so there is pages and pages and pages of comments after this part 1, and I'm scrolling back up to the top because there is just so dang much. I'm trying to think of things that he mentions. So he's basically, after he posts this, people are commenting on his post and he's answering these questions. One interesting thing is he says, and you can't see the question because all this stuff is archived. So and saved. So which is suspect. But one thing he says is, no, we could not destroy them. They are extremely strong. Tough to explain how I know that, but you can just tell when they touch you. No idea how they evolved or were creative, ? Planet, eat, nothing. And I'm just reading. I lost about 10 pounds over the 3 weeks I was with them, mostly because I had no appetite. They gave me flatbread, butter, and fruit. That was it. I think they might be vegetarian. And he laughs about it. I have no idea. That's what he says. Their voices all sound like sort of in between male and female in terms of high, low, but the way they speak is forceful, masculine. So maybe like assertive or something like that. They have some trouble with vowels. For example, 8 and 18th both sound like AT. That reminds me real quick is AT telefono.
Telefono mi casa.
My casa IT. Anyway, so something like that. I do kind of hear Gina as a female, but that might just because I associate the name Gina with female gender. They didn't give me any magazines at first. Then they gave me all sorts of materials, I think. I think they do that to figure out what turns us on. Ooh, and then we're getting sexy.
Right.
So I thought that was
my
interesting.
kind of aliens.
Hell yeah, dude. They know how to party, dude. And they party hard.
With flatbread, butter, and fruits.
I'm going to get that fruit.
The aliens are Mediterraneans, dude.
Oh, dude. That is the Mediterranean diet.
Hell yeah.
That is the Mediterranean diet.
And fishes.
Fish. Fishies. Okay, well, is there anything else before we move on to part 2? Just because, I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Are we good on time? Because,
yeah, we're pretty good right now.
Okay. And we were thinking we might go through this whole thing. So
yeah, let's just get it.
Let's go. All right. So let's talk about part 2. Oh, that was part 2. Was all the comments.
Part 2 was more like comments and stuff.
Right.
Is what all that was.
Okay.
And then part 3 is kind of where it gets kind of interesting. So I have to reiterate, though, in part 1, he does talk about how it doesn't seem like they're very violent, like they won't hurt you, and how, it's just, it is what it is, kind of, In part 3, he starts to say that he, okay.
Well, so this is a few years have passed.
A few years have passed. This is now in, what is it, 2021? 2020?
May 21? It has been 8 years since he posted. So it's May 24th, 2021. So this past May.
It's past May. He hops back on. And he's like, hey, last time I was on here, I read a lot of comments, and some of them were great. Some of them were just pretty mean, a lot of people just think you're crazy and this and that. And, obviously that's why abductees and stuff don't ever want to talk about it, basically, because a lot of you are assholes. It's kind of like the skinny of it. And he's like, look, I'm not here to make money or write books. As a matter of fact, as of the 18th, I will no longer be here. They're taking me. I don't know what that means. That's just what they've told me, and I'll never be here again. If anybody hops on Reddit and claims to be me, it's a fake. It's not me. I won't be here anymore.
Yep. He also references to other people that he has been on craft with, that he lists 3 stages of contact, of abductions, and so the first one, and then this is just with this particular species that he has had contact with. The first one is they just watch you, and they maybe you see some lights, maybe you see some weird stuff, but you never get abducted. And that's the one I resonate with the most.
Me too.
Yeah. The second one is you get abducted early on from a kid all through your life on a very steady base, not to the day, but definitely, a predictable pattern. Again, he doesn't say, like, they don't give you a warning, like, hey, Tuesday, how's 4 o'clock sound? Like, they don't do that. They're like, hey,
nope.
meet me at the Starbucks.
Yeah.
Don't wear pants. Like, they don't do that.
And he says in those particular cases too, that they usually only abduct you up until the age of 40. And it's not because they just stop at 40. Yeah. It's because most of those people die.
Dude, it gets dark. I mean, when he returns in 8 years to post on Reddit, you can tell there's a change in his tone, but you could still, when you read it, that's him, dude. Like, that is him typing. But he seems weathered and just kind of over it and more aware of what's going on. And he does reference that. He's like, hey, so the first post that I made, honestly, I think I was just kind of covering up some shit I had going on. I was trying to deal with it the way I was dealing with it, trying to make light of it, and not make it as big a deal as it really was. And now he comes back 8 years later saying, guys, I got to be real with you. And he's getting real, dude. So anyway, that third, we're talking about the first, second, third. The first one is you're just watched, and the second one is you've been, and maybe this is out of order, but it makes sense to me. It's a family line kind of, or he doesn't actually mention family line. He does just say, like, you've been you'll be abducted throughout your entire life. Yeah. And then the third is they abduct you one time, and then they just never talk to you again.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get that out before we got too far. So sorry if I'm all over the place, but I'm excited. I'm like, this is
so awesome. The first one is observing. The second one is they abduct you very often. And if you are abducted very often, you might just actually die by the age of 40. And the third one is you get taken once.
Right. So let's backtrack to the second one, that you might die by the age of 40. I think reading between the lines and what he said, and this is where it gets dark, man, is there's a lot of different ways that person could die or vanish. And one of them is just the fact that that's happening to a person. A lot of people commit suicide over this kind of shit. Like, it's fucking real, man. A lot of people can't hold down a job. Therefore they become homeless. They're on the street. And he does say in his post, like, hey, a lot of people out there on the street saying this kind of stuff that I'm saying. There's a lot more of us out there. Like, maybe you should take it maybe with a bigger bowl of salt, which is another reference to what do you remember the bowl of salt reference? That was something specific. But anyway, that's the dark part of it, man. It's like, dude, I love talking about the subject, and I love having fun with it, but this is like the serious part,
Yeah. Yeah. And when he says also, like, they told him that certain people are abducted specifically for just testing. And there's so much testing on them that they don't make it, right? It's not that they're being mean or they're trying to purposely hurt somebody. They're literally doing tests, and sometimes the test subjects just don't make it, right?
Right. Oh, dude, okay. Tell me did I get that wrong? So, like, they're abducted once and then you never see them again because they die because of the testing. Was that the third one that I just misunderstood.
I think so. I
Okay.
think so.
Okay, got it. Okay, so the third one is they
They just take you.
and because of the specific testing is you die from that testing. He doesn't say that he knows what that testing is, right?
Right.
Magnus, you have a good point. So he does reference radiation damage. He does mention one of his contacts, the other people that he's on ship with, a close friend of his, probably the closest friend he might have, other than what he considers to be his niece. The other gentleman who passed away recently died of bone cancer, early onset bone cancer due to radiation.
Maybe.
I don't know. So, yeah, I'm just trying to go through, disappeared in the California desert, came back. I've read where Jim Morrison disappeared in the California desert, came back and talked to Ray Manzarek about it. Manzarek asked Jim, "Where have you been?" He said, "I disappeared in the desert." Woo.
And Manzarek was like, "Yeah, no shit. That's why I asked you where you went."
Yeah, like, what drugs did you have? And like, can I have some?
Hey, you disappeared in the desert. Where'd you go? I disappeared in the desert. I know. Where'd you go?
That's what I was.
Dude. Yeah. I mean, this part gets pretty heavy.
Yeah. So, so we're talking about, he's like, this first aspect is like kind of a rehash. Like, hey, this is what I used to think. This is what I think. And I know now. Again, let's say 8 years have gone by. So that means if he's abducted on a frequency of once every 2 years, so that he's been abducted 4 times in between those 8 years, he does say that his abduction experiences have changed. More recently, the names of these entities has changed. And you mentioned friends of friends earlier, right?
Friends of friends.
So before we talk about that, I think we should give some context to watching. So the concept of watching, he does hit on that a little bit. The way that they show him video of historical ancient depictions is it makes so much sense, dude. You see these orbs in the sky. Why can't they be cameras?
Right.
Recording the past. That's what I'm like, dude, what if we're just fucking surrounded by cameras all the time? We just can't perceive them. Maybe certain people can perceive them. If they're powerful enough to be able to control what you see and how you see it and how you feel about it, why can't they camouflage themselves to specific people and allow people to see them at a certain point, for who knows what? But that idea of watching, right? Like that's been going on for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
So now he's talking about a greater understanding, a more in-depth, like the Truman Show, Dr. Argon. Yes. So a greater understanding of who these entities are. And he calls them friends of friends. Do you remember why he came to that?
Because he asked them who they were, and whatever they put in his head, the best he could translate it to was friends of friends. But he also said that he believes that this specific race has only been here for about 30,000 years, and that a lot of the footage that was taken wasn't even taken from them. So he believes that when they got here, there was a war between them and another species that had existed. Now there's this massive mothership apparently he doesn't know if it's above the earth. He doesn't know if it's on the moon. He doesn't know where it's at. All he knows is that he's been taken there before. And he believes that when they had this battle, they actually killed off the previous species that was here, took all of their footage, which leads him to believe that they're not the only ones that are researching and trying to find out about these planets. And that's another interesting part. But he does believe that they had a war, they killed them off, took all of their video, continued doing research, and left their big ship there as like a hub. So, you know, they didn't have to build anything else. It was already there. Now, interesting enough is that they go on to say that these species talk about religion and how there's millions of civilizations in the galaxy, but there's only 3 planets that exist that have
seven in total of and then 3 out of those. Sorry to cut in.
You're good.
I get excited. Sorry, dude.
There's 7 in total, but only 3 of them have this dogmatic religious idea, and they believe that one of those 3 is the key to this whole God, I guess, for lack of a better word, right?
Creator.
The creator. So this belief in a creator, one out of these 3 planets is the truth, and the rest of it is all a simulation. So they're here studying our planet and 2 other planets to figure out which planet is the real one and which other ones are the simulations for the rest of the universe.
So I want to say the same thing that you just said in a different way. So
say it.
So what I understood, what I took from it is that they are, I'm probably going to overlap a little bit because I love the way you said that, but this is how I took it. They've excelled in time and space and consciousness so far that they've identified seven species, Earth-like planets that have intellectual conscious beings living on them. And they don't know why. They don't know if there's a God or creator, and they're trying to disprove that. It's either one or the other. There's no God and everything's random, or there is a God and everything's purposeful, and it's being created by one conscious source. And they've dwindled it down to knowing that there's a reason, there's something special about a conscious civilization that has that dogmatic, and here's the overlap, that dogmatic way of thinking. And they've identified that that's a very important thing. So they're getting closer, right? So 7 becomes 3. And we are one of those 3 planets that has conscious beings. We worship a religious dogmatic way of thinking. And I don't care, dude, I'm not atheist. I'm not agnostic. I don't know. I do believe in my core soul that there is a creator and a higher power. So I think we're both living proof that there's a reason why we're here, man. I think there's something to it, but they're and once you zoom in a little bit more than that. So first we have religious dogmata and dogmatism or whatever the fucking name is, and the other one is not. And they've dwindled it down to it is, right? And now the second coin flip, the 50-50 is it being simulated for one person, or is everyone simulating the universe?
Yeah.
So picture a web. So like there's this circle. This is just the visual that came into my head. So there's an outside web and there's one dot in the center. Okay. So the force, I mean, dude, I've been listening to Bledsoe Said So I'm like, the force is on my mind. I don't know if you listen to episode 2, but it's fucking fantastic. Y'all check it out. Ryan Bledsoe Said So. Anyway, so the force, this energy, right, comes from the outside to the source. So all the believers believe in this one creator, right? Or the creator created all of the people that believe in him. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's either or, and they're studying, they're trying to figure out. Does that, I don't know, does that click?
No, it makes sense. But also, does one, I mean, this is very philosophical, but does one exist without the other?
Oh, dude.
If there's nobody to believe, then what is there to believe in? Does that thing even exist? And if something does create to believe, then what's the point, right?
Maybe the point is to, you know how we're all so fascinated by 0 point energy and like energy, creating energy out of nothing, and breaking that third law of thermodynamics, or maybe it's the second. I don't know. I'm dumb,
but like maybe the point is just to keep going, is to be forever, is to be infinite. That's the point. And it's like, it's so easy word for us to say. And like, we have a minimal understanding of that, but maybe it's much deeper than that. And maybe it just keeps going. It just keeps fucking going, dude. The more you learn about it, the more it goes on, because we are, I mean, is that not the literal, that's manifestation, right? The more you think about something, the more you manifest it. So
yep.
if that, it's no longer linear, it makes sense to me in the moment right now. The shit that I'm saying, I feel like I sound like a crazy person.
For sure, man. I mean, like, yeah, like I said, like there's one thing creating believers, but if the believers don't believe in the one thing that it's creating, what happens, right?
Dude, what does happen?
What happens? Just want to give a quick shout out. What's up, Lawrence? How you doing, man? First Floor Audio. What's up, dude? How are you doing, man?
Oi, yeah. Lauren, what's up? Tammy, also. What's up, girl? Dude, yeah, we got a good crew tonight.
Space
Dr.
Cow,
Argon.
what's up, dude?
Hell yeah. Is everything a thought form? Dude, I would like to think so. Wouldn't you like to power your vehicle or the things that make you comfortable with just the thought in your head? That'd be super dope. That sounds awesome. Like, oh, I wish it was 72 degrees right now. You don't need an AC.
That would be nice.
I wish I had a freaking meatball sub right now. That's what I wish.
That would be awesome. Can God make an immovable object? If he can't move it, he is not God. But if he moves it, he can't make an immovable object.
Ooh. I feel like I've heard a concept similar to that. If it's not that, I love that though. That's really cool. How do you First Floor, how do you present that question or that challenge to God though? How do you do that? How do you prove that?
Do it.
I want to know, man.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. But yeah, so his whole idea on what they told him, is pretty interesting. So the strange part here is these beings fought this war, killed off the original species, took all their stuff, continued on observing the species. Now, on the 18th, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at comments. So we're back talking about the story here. Okay. Yes. Got it. Could you tell that I wasn't paying attention?
100%.
Dude, I was like looking, and then I wasn't even reading. I was just like going off into a different. Yeah, you know me too well, brother.
Lawrence, let's make that happen, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, wrong one, but that's also a cool balance, a product of the thought, which is mine. Inspires further thought of. Ooh, that's cool. There's a balance of balance. Creation is a product of thought, which in hand inspires further thought. Yeah, absolutely. That's like why I say, like, dude, in design school, like I had a teacher one time tell me like I couldn't do a certain design because it was based off of another design. I just improved it. And I was like, well, what idea do you have that's original, bitch? I didn't say bitch. But I was like, well, what thought have you ever had that was original? And she had nothing. She was like, you got me there.
Everything's an improvement.
Yeah. But yeah, Lawrence, we gotta set up. Me and Joe have been talking about doing a little retreat here in the Austin area where we all get together, do a fireside chat for like the weekend, and of course the guys from Bob, William and Micah, and the guys from What If Tomorrow, Phil and Mark would be joining us, and hopefully Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, dude. If you can ever leave the damn borders, man. Hopefully, because of all the dang fires, but. I don't mean to make light of that situation, but I told him, hey, you got a place to stay in Texas if you ever need. So
that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Full attention, Joe. What you said was awesome. Let's go back to what you were saying. So we were talking about the Watchers and that change of management, right?
The change of management. Yep. The change of management. So they told him on the 18th that there would be a change in management, meaning that this species would no longer be here. They're going to leave, or do you think they're going to leave, or do you think there's going to be another war? Do you think that they know that there's another war coming?
That's what's scary. That's what's scary.
Do you think the report that came out recently was just enough to get the people thinking about it, knowing that something was going to be happening on Sunday?
Dude, yes. I do think that. Right now, I do think that. That's highly plausible.
It's going to be like this war up in space between these two species, and the government's going to be like, see, I told you, they're fucking evil, right?
And I love the way you said that, because this war in space, that doesn't mean it's going to come down to us and mess with us. Because why would you become management of a, let's say a Blockbuster and just set the shit on fire? Like, no, you want to protect your investment. No one's going to like ruin the planet or kill people. Like,
yeah,
we're going to fight you a little bit outside, you know? And they hear that we can't get too far out of our atmosphere without dying.
Yeah.
So that would make sense. So I hope that people don't take this as a doom and gloom type of situation, but it will be very interesting to see what happens, because the war in space, would we see it? Would we know it's happening? Would we see it at night? Is that what we're going to see on the 17th at midnight? Is a bunch of blasters going off? Pew, 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 pew.
I don't know, dude.
Darth Vader swinging a damn sword, dude. Darth Vader, bro, swinging his damn lightsaber, bro. And then Luke Skywalker, like, no, hey, Dad, no, hey. and then Obi-Wan Kenobi being like, hey, everybody, my name's Ian McGregor.
I think Luke Skywalker had a blue one, and Master Yoda had the green one.
Luke had green too, dude.
They have green.
Yeah, bro.
Blue. Are you sure?
Yeah, dude.
Obi-Wan had the green one.
Oh, bro. Hey, Ben Kenobi. Also, his name's Ben, by the way. That's fucking cool. Ben had blue. Luke had green. Also, Yoda had green. But it was a small one.
I think it was
a small green one.
That makes sense. I think it was green. You're right. Because he trained with Yoda. Why wouldn't he get the green one?
And he's got similar motives and a similar soul to Yoda. You know, he's kind of a little. He believes in. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a goofy guy too at times. He likes to play a joker too. I don't know.
Yes.
My finger, you will pull.
Sorry, I forgot to mute it.
No worries. Okay, so back to this new management thing. I mean, maybe I got off the deep. Maybe there's a war that goes on. Do you think
maybe there isn't?
Maybe there isn't. Maybe this is all a psyop. You know, maybe this was a CIA plant that posted this in 2013 to make all this. I think self-fulfilling prophecy is such an underrated concept, dude. Because if we're talking about consciousness being as powerful as it is, I think there's something to be said about giving prophecies. Like, there's an ancient prophecy of a legend foretold of a man with a long hair and beard and glasses round as the sun, that would one day speak upon a podcast deep into the microphone with such power that would change the forces of good and evil. You know, like, and then you like, you know what? That sounds like me. I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Hey, like, what are you doing? What's everybody doing?
What are you doing, dude? Like, if you put it out in the universe, maybe it might happen, man.
It might, man.
So I hope that people don't freak out because of this.
One thing that I did like about this Reddit post was the fact that they said, look, we're not going to get all culty and shit about this. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean that something happened in the dark of night where we didn't see it. You know, it doesn't mean that you know, it's this or that. Like, if it doesn't happen, look, it just didn't happen. Like, let's not have anxiety. Let's not freak out over the whole deal. Let's not make this a big thing. If it happens, then that's the answer. That's what we all wanted. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. It's not a big deal. This is just a very interesting story from a guy who has a lot of specifics that's been telling his story since 2013 and then disappeared for 8 years. And now in May of 2021, he's back and says, look, this is what's going to happen. This is what they told me. Either way, he said the past few days, he's just been drinking beer and eating his favorite foods. He's accepted what's going to happen to him. And he's gone through, he's not even depressed or sad or anything like that. He's just had a lot to deal with and accepting his own fate. And on the 18th, whether it happens or not, he will no longer be here.
Yeah. And it, so what does that say about, I mean, you hear all the time about something big's going to happen. Dude, my wife gives me shit all the time because I'm always like, there's a solar flare coming. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. And she's like, there's always something going to happen. Like, what is and then I was like, oh yeah, you're right. But it's better to be safe than sorry.
Right.
Is always my thing. And you have to have some humility about it. Like, don't be afraid of being wrong. Like, if you're wrong, don't double down, don't double down. That's the mind frame I hope that we all kind of live in. Is like, dude, this is like fascinating stuff. I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, me too.
The fact that it's connected to a specific date that's like happening in like 2 days or 3 days or whatever.
We don't even have to wait that long.
Dude,
I know.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to the abduction scenario, people always want proof. They want the facts. And it's strange because you're dealing with a subject and a topic and a situation that's purposely whatever these things are doing, it's very purposeful. And while they may mess up occasionally, they're not leaving a lot of evidence behind. They're not leaving you with a lot of facts. They're leaving you with kind of a mind fuck and the idea of like, how do I tell anybody this?
Yeah.
You're dealing, and this is very purposeful. It's done that way on purpose, So when we're dealing with a subject that everybody requires so many facts and evidence, but this subject has facts and evidence come, very far and few in between.
Yeah.
It's really tough. And when it comes to their reality and what these people are dealing with, whatever is happening to them, we can't just jump on the train of like, these people are crazy, right? Because we don't really understand what's happening to them. Unless you've actually been abducted yourself, there's no way to even be able to put yourself in the shoes of these people or in the minds of these people and the things the way that they've shifted their whole way of thinking, there's just no way we can do that. And I think that's one of the most unfair things that abductees have to deal with. And I guess that's kind of my piece,
Man, I can't add anything to that would make that more perfect. Like, great job. Saint, you did a great job. You said so many things that I've been thinking about lately, man. Like, I don't want to ruin it with some dumb comment, like it has to be, because I don't really consider myself as a contactee. You and I've experienced stuff on my own. I've experienced really strange stuff. You as well, man. But we don't have vivid memories or experiences that we can talk into deep detail, and it doesn't affect our daily lives like it does other people, like this individual Throawaylien, and millions of other people go through this stuff. And for us to just get the word out that, hey, this happens to regular people and it ruins their fucking lives. So stop making fun of them and maybe give them a second chance. Maybe that's our place in this whole thing.
Yeah. We're not saying believe without skepticism.
Yes.
We're just saying, hey, have an open mind, have an open ear, and yeah, exactly. Hear them out. Have a conscience, have a conscience about it. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, don't just believe without skepticism. I'm very skeptical about this story, but I'm not immediately. If nothing happens on Sunday, that doesn't change the fact that I believe he has had some sort of contact, maybe.
Absolutely. That's so important to be said.
These things have also been known to be liars. They've also lied to people. They've given people dates. They've told them all kinds of stuff. One of the things that he says in this whole paper is, look, if you've been abducted, if somebody says that they gave them instructions on how to save the planet or how to save the fucking whales or anything like that, or like how to save humanity, they're lying, because they don't care about you on that level. They're literally here to study you, and that's all they care about. Yes. If anybody's trying to tell you that they know the secrets to the universe, that's not how this works.
Yep.
If you've been abducted, you don't want to talk about it, and other abductees don't really want to talk about it either. And we've ran across a few people that are exactly like that, and they're like, all that saving humanity shit it's just horseshit. Like, that's not how it works. Yep. You're an experiment. You're an experiment. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not. It's always terrifying, but other than that, you're a fucking lab rat. That's all you are.
And here's the thing. I would like to interject there and say that there's obviously one way you could look at that, and a completely opposite way. Whereas one way is they don't give a shit about us. They don't care what happens. Like, we're just an experiment. But the other is we're so important. We're like the center of the universe. But maybe the answer is lies somewhere in between, where like, hey, they don't care if we live or die, but they want us to live a good life. Maybe that is somewhere in that gray area.
Right.
They want to supply us enough time to experience the universe in a lifetime. I think why not make something beautiful out of it? There's probably somewhere in the middle that they just can't explain. That's the language barrier. We just can't comprehend that.
I think I equate it to the same thing of like, if there is a God and he put everything in motion, I don't think he gives a shit whether or not you pray before a baseball game or if you win the lottery or whatever. People pray for the dumbest shit sometimes. And it's like, do you really think God cares if you win the World Series? I don't think so. Now, did he love you enough to put this entire universe into motion and then you be a creation hundreds of millions of years later down the line, and now you have like this conscious body and you're thinking about the universe? The fact that you're even here should be love enough. He doesn't care if you win the World Series. He doesn't care if you win the Super Bowl. He doesn't care. That's not God's place. And I feel the same way about these ETs, on how like, yeah, maybe they care a little bit, enough to study and like enough to like, kind of push things in a certain direction. But when it comes to like what your personal issues are, I don't think they care at all.
Yeah, they don't care if you got that raise or what you accomplished or how many books you published or that you said that you opened that door for that one lady that one time, like, or even if you forgot to open up the door for that old lady, and like all the things that you stay up at night like fucking worrying about. They don't care, the universe doesn't care, and you shouldn't care. I think there's something beautiful in that, man.
Oh, there is. It sounds harsh, but it's not.
Right.
I think it takes a lot of pressure off of us for our daily lives, because, if you live in the moment, yeah, great. But if you live in the future, you're like, oh, if I do that, oh, that's going to break. And if I make this mistake, maybe live in the moment for a second and just realize where the fuck you are. You're living. You're breathing.
You're breathing. Yeah.
You only take poop 2 to 3 poops a day.
Could be worse.
Yeah,
Tim F. What's up, dude?
You get to taste. I don't know, bananas. Apparently, bananas are going to be out of like no. There's not going to be no more bananas in like 50 years. So like, hey, everybody, go buy some fucking bananas. You know,
Well,
I think
the original banana went extinct in the 50s, anyways.
yes, I love that you know that. It's like it's a genetically modified. What is it?
That's
A
all it
fruit?
is.
What is it?
Yeah, it's a fruit.
But I think there's.
Actually, I think it's a nut, isn't it? A banana's a nut.
No way. It's
Yeah, because there's a massive like nut on it, and the banana, you take the banana off of the nut and you replant the nut. I think banana's actually a nut.
See, those are like perfect examples of like why I think the universe has a sense of humor. Something shaped like a dick is a nut.
Yes, dude. Yeah, dude.
There was a larger point that I wanted to make, but I think I want to leave everybody with this idea that like maybe they don't give a shit about us, but not to the point where they don't care if we live or die. Maybe they don't give a shit enough about us to the point where like we're not, just do your thing, man. Like, be happy. We gave you this. We're your managers. Like, we're gonna make sure you're not gonna get hit by an asteroid. Don't worry about that. Solar flares, maybe we'll let a little bit in just to like keep you on your toes, but like we got you. Just do your fucking thing. Just keep doing what you're doing. We're just watching you, man. We're just watching. Do your thing. Maybe it could be that.
It might be, man. I mean, we're all guessing. We're all guessing at this point, but you know, it's fun to think about. I think this is a fascinating story.
Yeah.
I'm starting to kind of go hoarse, losing my voice a little bit.
I can tell.
I think
you're starting to sound sexy, bro.
Pretty awesome. You guys all need to go check out this story before Sunday. It's pretty interesting. It's not like a super long read, but it's going to take you at least 45 minutes.
Absolutely.
To scroll through the whole thing.
Yep.
Super awesome. Throawaylien. We'll post a link. If you go to UFO Garage podcast group, you can see it. It was posted by Ryan Quick, and it's on there. Go check out our group. Join the group. Join the discussions. We have a lot of fun in there. There's always people posting all kinds of cool stuff. So make sure you're all part of the group, man. Come and hang out with us and post some more stories. If you guys have anything that y'all are interested in hearing, a topic or whatever, just shoot it over to us, man. We may not get to it immediately, but we'll definitely get to it for sure.
Hell yeah. Love that. All right, dude. Well, I couldn't say it any better, brother. Thanks for getting through this with your cold, man. I know how shitty it is to feel sick, and dude, you bananaed up, my friend.
No worries, man. We got to do it for the people, man.
Do it for the peeps.
Do it for the people.
All right, man. Well, hey, I'll talk to you next week, and we may have an announcement next week with something exciting.
A little announcement would be pretty
something
cool.
Exciting happening.
Hell yeah, dude. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. All right, guys. Well, hey, I'll talk to you next time.
And this has been another episode
of UFO Garage.
Garage.
We'll see y'all later.
All right. Much love, y'all. Peace.
Bye.